field, number 4, Jake Holcroft. Batting second at third base, number 7, Jake Sukata. Batting third, the designated hitter, number 28, Zach Tolia. Batting fourth in left field, number 14, Riley Knight. Batting fifth and catching, number 13, Nick Klepp. Batting sixth at second base, number 11, Ben Pataxel. Batting seventh at right field, number 9, Henry Mensch. Batting eighth at first base, number 16, Tristan Gomez. And batting ninth at shortstop, number 5, Ty Saunders. The starting pitcher for the Pilots today is number 17, Brock Gillis. Fans, please rise if you are able and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
Well, it's a gorgeous day on the Bluff as we welcome you onto the campus of the University of Portland for today's West Coast Conference clash between the Pepperdine Waves and the Portland Pilots as the sun shines down. And welcome you to Joe Edsel Field. I'm Brian Syke, and I'll have your call today. Last night, the Pilots took the opener 5-4 and come from behind late inning heroic fashion. Pepperdine knows they missed an opportunity to take a conference game and have come back focused and ready to win the day and even the series. Portland, on the other hand, tries to win the series with a win today behind the arm of junior Brock Gillis of Everett, Washington. His last two outings, he's put up back-to-back 10K performances as he makes his fifth start on the mound this season. He has a 1-0 record with a 3.32 ERA and 21.2 innings of work. He's given up 20 hits, 8 earned runs, 11 walks, and 31 strikeouts. Opponents are hitting .241 against him. He's picking up where his brother left off with these double-digit strikeout performances. Now let's get you the lineup for the Pepperdine Waves today. Leading off as the designated hitter, Grant Shane. Batting second, the shortstop, John Peck. Batting third behind the plate, it's going to be Ryan Johnson. Charles Mancino's the right fielder, batting fourth. Quint Landis is out on left field instead of behind the dish today. He'll be batting fifth. Greg Melhoff mans third base again, batting sixth. Lincoln Oriana over at first base, bat seventh. Cam Conley is at second base getting the start today. He did not see any action yesterday. Then Connor Bradshaw rounds out the bottom of the lineup for the Waves. Defensively for your Pilots in the outfield, it's going to be Knight, Holcroft, and Mensch from left to right. The infield is Sukata, Saunders, Pataxel, Gomez, and Klemp. So two different names, Saunders and Gomez, in the starting lineup today. Yesterday we saw Tolia and Spencer Scott. Shane, a senior from Clackamas, Oregon, with a homecoming yesterday. Quite the day at the plate. He started out 3 for 3, ended up 3 for 4 with a sacrifice bunt and a run scored. Was 2 for 6 coming into this series, so he already surpassed his season total in yesterday's game, now has 5 hits on the year. The 2-0. Very rare of Brock Gillis to start out 3-0. It's been so good about attacking batters, getting first pitch strikes. And it's a 4-pitch walk to Shane. And the leadoff man is aboard for the Pepperdine Waves.
The shortstop, number 6, John.
Back yesterday, when 0 for 5, did reach base once thanks to an error at the shortstop position. Gillis delivers what looked to be a slider for a strike. 0-1 to start off Peck. Good rebound after a 4-pitch walk. Peck, a junior from Moore Park, California, went to Moore Park High School. Takes strike 2 inside, just below the letters. 0-2. He's a WCC Player of the Year candidate. Last year, he was all WCC first team. Preseason all WCC selection coming into this year. Ranked as the #1 draft prospect in the West Coast Conference according to Perfect Game. Here he goes down with a strikeout. And with a runner on first, he won't advance. 1 away. With Shane still over at first, and that brings up Ryan Johnson.
The catcher, number 15, Ryan Johnson.
Johnson, the senior from Tempe, Arizona. Had a decent day at the plate, a couple of RBI. Gillis would throw over to first, but yesterday for Johnson at the plate, he was 1 for 2 with an RBI double in the first inning. He walked in the third, and then he had a sacrifice fly back in the 7th inning. That actually gave Pepperdine the lead momentarily, 4-3, before the Pilots scored the tying run in the bottom half of that 7th inning. Johnson starts out with a strike, 0-1. Came into the series batting .203. 12 hits. Now he's got 13 on the season after yesterday. Fastball from Gillis blows by Johnson, 0-2. Played in 110 games coming into this season. He's now at 125 after playing in 15 already this season. Gillis throws back over to first. During his first few seasons, he was averaging almost a hit per game, 105 hits, while he hit .251. Lays off the high pitch above the letters. 1-2 on Johnson. Johnson played in all 50 games last year for the Waves. Split time between home and middle infield, much like we saw yesterday. He started at second. Today he's behind the plate. Led the team with 37 RBI, 10 home runs. 12 multi-hit games last year. Here's the 1-2. Strike 3. Gillis getting his second K already. He had 10 strikeouts against Niagara last Saturday. And then he had 10 strikeouts against Utah Valley the start before that. It's picking up right where he left off. 2 quick strikeouts as Charles Messino steps to the plate. First pitch breaking ball, too far inside. Called a ball on Messino. He'll start out 1-0. Junior outfielder. Comes from Newbury Park, California. Went to Oaks Christian High School. Fouls this one off to our left. That'll even the count at 1-1. Last season, he was all WCC honorable mention, hitting .333, which was second best for anybody on the Pepperdine club. In 45 games, he had 52 hits, and at one time had a 16-game hitting streak. Gillis throws back over the first. He's hitting .305 in his career before the start of the season. This year he's hitting .225 early on before conference play. There he takes strike two, 1-2. Gillis, who started off Grand Shane, a Clackamas product, walked him on 4 straight pitches and has responded with 2 straight strikeouts. Can he get a third right here? Comes home on the 1-2. 3 straight strikeouts after the leadoff walk. Gillis responds. He strands the runner over at first. No runs come in to score. As we head to the bottom of the first inning, Jake Holcroft, Jake Sukata, and Zach Tulia will come to the plate for the Pilots when we return on the WCC Network.
Video streaming, game schedules, and more. Visit PortlandPilots.com and follow @PortlandPilots on all social media platforms.
We welcome you back to Joe Etzel Field. Brian Slyke on the call for you this afternoon. Starting pitcher for the Pepperdine Waves is going to be number 14, Brandon Llewellyn. Llewellyn is making his 4th start on the season, his 6th appearance. He has an 0-1 record with a 10.93 ERA and 14 innings of work. He's giving up 19 hits, 17 earned runs, 10 strikeouts, and just 3 walks, but opponents are hitting .311 against him. And the other thing to look out for, 5 hit batters so far this season. And we have seen here as of late that the Pilots are ball magnets in the batter's box. Leading off for the Portland Pilots, it's Jake Holcroft, the center fielder today. I'll give you the rest of the lineup for the Pilots after this pitch from Llewellyn. Holcroft swings at the first pitch, breaking ball. Just outside the reach of his bat, 0-1. Sukata will be batting second. He's playing third. Tulia's the DH, batting third. Briley Knight out of left field bats cleanup as Holcroft falls behind 0-2 on an off-speed pitch. Klemp is behind the plate, batting 5th. Pataxel is over at second, batting 6th. Mensch out in right field, bats 7th. Tristan Gomez, the first baseman, bats 8th. And then Ty Saunders getting the start at shortstop will round out the bottom of the lineup in the 9-hole. Holcroft takes a ball near the dirt. It'll make it 1-2 on the junior from Upland, California. Got one off the end of the bat, and just over the glove of Llewellyn. Charging it is Conley from second, and he can't make a play. Holcroft gets on with an infield single. It's not exactly how you drew it up, but you'll take the infield single. It looked like he got a breaking ball that he got off the end of the bat, but put it right into the ground over a jumping Llewellyn who came off the mound. And then Cam Connolly, who's starting at second base, was a bit too slow, was playing too far back, and could not make a throw over to first to get Holcroft. So Jake Sukata steps to the plate. Slightly open stance as he bats from the left side. Starts himself out with a ball, 1-0. Sukata's hitting .333 on the year, 17 hits and 51 at-bats. He's got 10 RBI. And 4 stolen bases as well. Holcroft gets back to first. A high throw taken in by Oriana. No tag applied. Holcroft, 2 stolen bases this season on 2 attempts. And he's got a decent lead off the bag over at first right now. Breaking ball, Sukata puts a drive into one into center field, though, and it's going to be caught by Bradshaw, the center fielder. And Sukata's retired for the first out in the bottom of the first inning. Zach Tolia to the plate. Tolia yesterday went 2 for 4, a couple of strikeouts, but had a single and a double. Here he swings at a curveball, or slider, excuse me, 0-1. Did have an RBI and a sacrifice fly in the third. That gave the Pilots a brief lead of 3-2. Conley will cover the bag in case Holcroft goes. Tolia takes ball 1 above the letters, 1-1. Holcroft back, head first safely over at first on the throw over from Llewellyn. Tolia's on a hit streak right now. Holcroft going for second, and he's in there safely. Stolen base, and in scoring position. He had a big lead over at first. Llewellyn was not comfortable. He threw over a couple of times. Holcroft unaffected, though. Kept his lead, steals second, and now he's in scoring position with a 1-2 count on Tolia. Breaking ball. Almost got him to chase. Instead, evens the count at 2-2. Currently on an 8-game hit streak, extended it yesterday. Check swing, and they're saying he went around, and that'll be a strikeout. 2 away now as Tolia goes back to the dugout. Briley Knight comes to the plate. The senior from Corvallis, Oregon, is batting .323 on the year. He plays in his 17th game. He's got 20 hits, 7 for doubles, and 15 RBI. No movement from the Waves. Now there's a little bit of movement from Cam Connolly, the second baseman. Strike in there on Knight. Slight shake of his head as he didn't quite agree with that one, but he'll take it 0-1. Knight batting .323 on the season, but .435 with runners in scoring position and .429 with 2 outs. Can he come through and give the Pilots the lead? Ground ball to the right side. Oriana makes a diving stop. The flip to Llewellyn, and he steps on the bag in time to get Briley Knight. So the Pilots strand 1. No runs coming to score. It remains scoreless as we head to the second inning. Coming to the plate for the Waves, Quint Landis, Greg Melhoff, and Lincoln Oriana when we return on the WCC Network.
For the Pilots in the first inning, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 run.
Top of the second inning here at Joe Etzel Field as Quint Landis, the left fielder, comes to the plate. Yesterday, he was behind the plate as he went 1 for 4 with a strikeout, 2 flyouts, and a double, where he was left stranded at third back in the 4th inning of yesterday's game. Ground ball over to the left side, backhanded by Sukata, and throws it over to first with ease. 1 away to start off this second inning. Sukata, who was DHing yesterday, gets back into the field. Last few seasons we've seen him over at second, but today getting the start at third, as we've seen a couple of times early on in this season. Makes a nice play over at the hot corner, and quickly strike thrown to Greg Melhoff, the third baseman for the Waves. Some movement by the infield. Tristan Gomez, the first baseman, has his heels on the right field grass. Meanwhile, Ben Pataxel in shallow right field, as you see on the right side of your screen. Sukata off the line at third as Ty Saunders, the shortstop, playing closer towards the bag at second. The 1-1 from Gillis. Slider in there for a strike, 1-2. Melhoff batting .218 on the season. 12 hits and 55 at-bats. He's driven in 12 runs as well. Gillis has that one get away from him inside for a ball. 2-2 count. The 2-2 count from Gillis. No chase on a ball that didn't break, stayed high above the letters. Easily the best day we've had at the ballpark this season. And a 4th strikeout on a breaking ball from Gillis. He is on a roll. 2 quick outs here in the second as Lincoln Oriana will come to the plate. But as I was saying, a dusting of clouds above us right now, but you've got some blue skies, 65 degrees, and minimal winds of about 4 miles an hour. And you can see the people are showing up to the ballpark. Popped up into shallow center field. Coming in is Holcroft, and he will make the catch in shallow center field. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Gillis on the mound and the Pilots in the field. We head to the bottom of the second inning. Due up for the Pilots, Nick Klemp, Ben Pataxel, and Henry Mensch when we return on the WCC Network.
Generous partners for their support of Pilot Athletics. Nike, Coca-Cola, U.S. Bank, Portland North Marriott, Les Schwab Tires, and Northwest Navigator. A reminder, fans, be alert for balls leaving the field of play at any moment. Leading up the second to the Pilots, the catcher, number 13, Nick Klemp.
Welcome back to Joe Etzel Field. Bottom of the second inning. Pilots made quick work of the Waves out in the field as Nick Klemp takes the first pitch slider for a strike. It's 0-1. Klemp with 27 hits on the season, hitting .422. Yesterday with the start behind the plate as he takes ball 1 to even the count at 1-1. Hit 5th in yesterday's game, but went 0 for 4 with a strikeout, 2 groundouts. He did reach base on a fielder's choice though in the third, but was later left stranded at third base. The 1-1. Swings at a low pitch just out of the zone, 1-2. Had a chance to speak with head coach Rick Hertensteiner of the Pepperdine Waves and talk about Llewellyn as Klemp puts one into right field past the diving glove of Oriana. And a leadoff single for the Pilots again in the second inning. And we'll see if the Pilots can cash in. But as I was saying, as Ben Pataxel now comes to the plate, Llewellyn, hard competitor on the mound, comes with a fastball, curveball, slider, and change. So he has a plethora of pitches to choose from. We've seen opposing pitchers try to pound the zone with a fastball, but the Pilots have jumped on it on multiple occasions here. Llewellyn seems to be throwing strictly sliders at the moment, mixing in the occasional fastball and a changeup. As Clem gets his lead off at first, about 6 feet off the bag. He too can steal a base. He's 2 for 2 this season. Strike called on Pataxel as the ball goes over the black on the far side of the plate. That'll make it 1-1. The 1-1 breaking ball inside almost caught Pataxel. He has been a ball magnet, easily leading this Pilot club with 10 hit by pitches. Clem takes his secondary inside on Pataxel. Fastball at the knees for a strike, 2-2. Pataxel puts this one in the air on the right side towards the grassy berm, and it'll go out of the stadium for a strike. Back to the 2-2 count. Throw over to first. Klemp is back safely. Pataxel puts a dribbler in front of his own dugout. Again, back to the 2-2. The tough out right now. Pataxel came in yesterday batting .200, but had himself a good day at the plate, going 2 for 3 with a sacrifice fly that brought in a run. He had 2 singles. He, too, also scored a run. It was one of the 2 that scored in the second inning. The 2-2 puts one down the left field line, and it's going to be a foul ball. Third base umpire was hugging that line, watching it land all the way, and couldn't have been more than a couple of inches. So Pataxel goes back to the batter's box with a 2-2 count. And just when you think you've got yourself in great position, instead you have to go back to the batter's box with a 2-2 count. The junior from Renton, Washington will go down with a strikeout instead. One away for Portland in the bottom of the second. That'll bring up Henry Mensch. Mensch got the start in right field yesterday and got on base every single time that he got up to the plate. Takes a strike right there on a curveball, 0-1. 3 walks and a double. Now his double will be a double in the scorebook, but probably should have been an out. I'll speak on it after this next pitch. The 0-1 from Llewellyn in their first strike. Mensch hesitated there, 0-2. But yesterday, Mensch popped one up in a shallow center field, but because of the night sky, the lights looking down, and the ball got above the lights, the shortstop for Pepperdine, John Peck, and the center fielder, Bradshaw, lost it, and neither of them could find it as that ball misses low and away for a 1-2 count now on Mensch. But both players put their hands up, not sure where it was going to be. And while I talked to head coach Rick Hertensteiner, he said that that's something that they anticipated. They were here on Thursday night. They practiced that knowing that that could be an issue, and it still came back to bite them. As Mensch takes ball 2, it's going to be 2-2. There were a couple plays yesterday on both sides where routine pop-ups, the 2-2 to Mensch, called strike 3, and back-to-back strikeouts after the leadoff single. And that'll bring up Tristan Gomez, the first baseman for Portland. But as I was saying, both sides yesterday dropping routine pop-ups, both because of some of the wind that was here at Joe Etzel Field and the night skies mixing with the stadium lights. Gomez yesterday had one at-bat as he pinch hit for Evan Scavato. He went 0 for 1 as he grounded out to Oriana at first. First pitch he sees from Llewellyn off the plate over the white line of the right-handed batter's box, 1-0. Gomez, the junior from Omaha, Nebraska, transfer from Cal State Fullerton. Has a throw over to first, not in time. Mensch is safe. Or Klemp, excuse me. But Gomez batting .312 on the season. 10 hits and 32 at-bats. He's got 10 RBI, 7 runs scored as he takes ball 2 low and away. 5 of those 10 hits have been for extra bases, though. 3 doubles and 2 home runs. Cam Conley in shallow right field with the left-handed bat up. Takes a strike inside at the knees. First strike, 2-1. Ty Saunders is on deck for Portland. Two one with 2 outs. Gomez puts this one up in the air in center field. Bradshaw takes a few steps back, camps underneath it, and makes the catch. And that will retire the Pilots here in the second inning after the leadoff single. It's 3 straight outs. And we will head to the third. Coming to the plate for the Pepperdine Waves, it's Cam Conley, Connor Bradshaw, then the top of the lineup to Grant Shane when we return on the WCC Network.
Leading up the top of the third inning for Pepperdine. Second baseman, number 9, Cam Conley.
Cam Conley will step to the plate as we welcome you back to Joe Etzel Field for the third inning of work. Brock Gillis has faced 7 batters through the first 2 innings. He has 4 strikeouts, excuse me. Conley swings at the first pitch, breaking ball, puts it in the air in shallow left center field. Ty Saunders is going after it, and he will make the catch. 1 pitch and 1 out as Conley is retired. That'll bring up Connor Bradshaw, the center fielder. Bradshaw normally wearing 21, but with the uniforms being orange today, not all the uniforms and colors have all the numbers needed on this team. So Bradshaw wearing 39 today instead of 21. As he takes a first pitch strike, 0-1. Yesterday, he went 0 for 4, but he did score a run as he reached on a fielder's choice. Check swing inside. They appeal down to third. He did not go around. 1-1 count. Bradshaw Jr. from New Rochelle, New York. Slider that he hits to the right side. Chopper over to Pataxel. In time over to first, and 2 retired quickly here in the 3rd inning. And that'll bring up Grant Shane, who just seems to be getting on base at will. He's gotten on base 4 times in 5 official at-bats. He does have a sacrifice bunt, but he had 3 singles yesterday, and he struck out. And the only time he did not reach base, here he fouls it back behind us and to our left. It'll be 0-1. Well, you know it's a nice day here in Portland because there are plenty of fans in the stands. You see right there on that shot behind home plate, the 0-1. Taken in for a strike on Shane, 0-2. We've got multiple teams represented from UP Athletics. The 0-2. Ball hit into right center field. Mensch running towards the gap, gets underneath it, and he makes the catch in front of the 367 marker. And a 1-2-3 inning again for the Waves as Gillis puts them down in order. We head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Ty Saunders leads us off, and then we go back to the top of the lineup to Jake Holcroft and Jake Sukata when we return on the WCC Network.
Leading out the bottom of the 3rd for the Pilots, the shortstop, number 5, Ty Saunders.
Bottom of the 3rd inning here at Joe Etzel Field. Brian Slyke on your call right now as Ty Saunders steps to the plate for his first at-bat in this game. Hitting 105 on the season, 2 hits and 19 at-bats. Llewellyn starts him out with the ball in the left-handed batter's box. So 1-0 on Saunders. Saunders normally a switch hitter, at least he was past couple of seasons for the Pilots. Big hack here evens the count at 1-1. This season, though, strictly batting from the right side. Haven't had a chance to talk with Coach Loomis about the intentions on making him hit from one side. Chases a low pitch and falls behind in the count, 1-2. No chase from Saunders, evens the count at 2-2. It's nice to see the support here at Joe Etzel Field. Not everybody sitting down at the seats, but standing on the concourse as Saunders hits a foul ball down the 3rd baseline. We'll go back to the 2-2 count. Llewellyn is at 35 pitches right now through 2 innings of work. A couple of different batters have made difficult outs at the plate, extending at bats, seeing multiple pitches. So we'll keep an eye on that pitch count for Llewellyn as a check swing from Saunders in the glove of Johnson, and that'll be a strikeout. 4th strikeout for Llewellyn. He had 10 strikeouts coming into today. As Jake Holcroft, one of the 2 hits for the Pilots today, steps into the batter's box for a second time. If you remember the last time he was up at the plate, got one off the end of the bat and over the jumping glove of Llewellyn, who came off the mound. Cam Conley, the second baseman, could not make a play on the ball. (2-0) to Holcroft. Ground ball up the middle and into center field past the diving glove of John Peck. And Holcroft again has another multi-hit game. 2 singles now, as Jake Sukata will come to the plate. Holcroft now with 6 multi-hit games on the season. He gets his lead off at first. Sukata at the plate. Flew out to center field to Connor Bradshaw his last time up. Looked like he squared it up pretty well, but looked better off the bat than it actually was. He takes the first pitch breaking ball for a strike 0-1. Middle infielders pinching towards the bag at second. Beautiful curveball right there on the far side of the plate away from Sukata. Makes the count 0-2. Holcroft with his lead off at first, again about 6 feet off the bag. Llewellyn puts a fastball in the right-handed batter's box, no chase, 1-2. The 1-2, Holcroft is going, swung on by Sukata. Holcroft will be safe, but they're going to call interference on the swing from Sukata. And I think they called him out at second anyways, as Holcroft came off the bag. And so the Pilots will be scoreless again here in the third. We head to the fourth. It'll be John Peck, Ryan Johnson, and Charles Messino coming to the plate for the Waves when we return on the WCC Network. Top of the fourth inning here at Joe Edsel Field on the campus of the University of Portland. Brian Slyke here on the call. John Peck comes to the plate for his second time as Brock Gillis out for a 4th inning of work, as he has been very good on the mound. 4 strikeouts, only 1 walk, no hits given up so far. That walk was the very first batter of the game, Grant Shane, but he got left stranded over at first after he had 3 straight strikeouts, one of them against John Peck right here, as he's already ahead 0-1. That slider from Gillis just missing out of the zone, 1-1. Peck fouls us off to our right. Now, Corey and I have talked about the West Coast League and the Ridgefield Raptors and the Cowlitz Black Bears before, but John Peck actually won the Cape Cod League out in Massachusetts with the Bourne Braves. And if you're familiar with the Cape Cod League, that's usually where the high-profile baseball players go. Ground ball to the right side, gloved by a diving Gomez. Throws it over to Gillis, who's covering the bag. And Peck is retired. Great glove work right there by Gomez at first. And Gillis to get off the mound in time to get that out. One away, and that brings up Ryan Johnson, the catcher today. But as I was saying, the Cape Cod League is where the more prominent hitters go. So you know that Peck has a bright future with opportunities to play out there. Get a lot of eyes and scouts on him. Johnson takes a ball low and away. Start him out 1-0. Johnson struck out looking in his only at-bat today. The 1-0. Takes ball 2, now it's 2-0. Gillis now in his 4th inning of work is at 36 pitches. He's been relatively efficient. Actually, I'd say he's been more than efficient as he drops this one in there for the first strike at this at-bat, 2-1. Of course, the Pilots wearing their pinstripe uniforms today. Pepperdine in orange. The 2-1. Chopped into the dugout for Portland. And, of course, everybody that's up on the fence avoids getting hit. The 2-2 to Johnson. Fights off another one to stay alive at the plate. We'll go back to the 2-2 count. Johnson goes down with another strikeout. Second time he's struck out today, as Gillis gets his 5th strikeout. Charles Messino steps to the plate now. Messino 0 for 1. He struck out to end the 1st inning. First pitch he sees, gets it off the end of the bat and sends it out of play to our left outside the stadium for a strike, 0-1. The 0-1. Chopper over to first, taken by Gomez. He steps on the bag at first, unassisted, and that will end the 4th inning. The 3rd straight 1-2-3 inning for Gillis on the mound. We head to the bottom of the 4th. It's the middle of the lineup. Talia, Knight, and Klemp come to the plate next on the WCC Network. Zach Talia steps to the plate to begin the bottom of the 4th inning for the Portland Pilots. Portland has had a hit in each of the first 3 innings, but unable to capitalize as all 3 runners have been left stranded on base as Tolia takes ball 1 near the feet. Well, I should say feet high and away. It'll be 1-0. Swing and a miss there makes it 1-1. Ground ball up the middle, and Pack can't get to it. Another diving effort that goes underneath the glove, and a leadoff single for Portland. 3rd time it's happened today, but still have unable to get anybody past second. Holcroft stole up to second, and that's where he was left stranded. That's the farthest any base runner's gotten. As Briley Knight steps to the plate. Tolia with his lead off at first. Takes a secondary. Knight lifting his hands, takes a strike. 0-1. Similar to what he saw in his first at-bat. Knight grounded out to the first baseman, Oriana, as he flipped it to Llewellyn. The 0-1. Chopper to the right side. Conley backs up, takes it on the hop, throws it over to Oriana, and will get Briley Knight, but it will move over to Leah up to second, and now he's in scoring position after the ground out. 4-3 in the scorebook, and that'll bring up Nick Klemp. Klemp singled in the second, but that's where he was left stranded. Klemp takes ball 1. That hit that Klemp had to start off the second inning was his first hit in the last 3 games. He is somewhat slowed down. That's only his second hit in about a week, and here he sends this one into the right center field gap. That is going to score Tolia from second. Klemp rounds first. Tolia touches home, and it's an RBI double as Klemp gets in there standing up, and the Pilots take a 1-0 lead. Sometimes you just have to speak it into existence. And the hit came for Klemp right there, and the Pilots take a 1-0 lead here in the middle of this one in the bottom of the 4th inning as Ben Pataxel now comes to the plate. You're going to win these games by hitting it into the gap, and Portland yesterday, both in right center and left center, hit a few baseballs, and that ended up being the difference. And it's the difference right now as Klemp sends in the first run. Pataxel's going to send another one into the right center field gap. This one taken in by Messino in right field. Klemp will be held up at second, and Pataxel has himself a single. The 3rd hit of this game, or this inning, I should say. And that'll bring up Henry Mensch, who struck out his last time. But 2 runners on. They're on the corners. Klemp is over at third. Pataxel's at first. And again, there's only 1 out right now. If you're Pepperdine, how do you want to play this one? You'll probably have your middle infielders play for a possible double play. Llewellyn will want to keep his pitches low to get that ground ball. As Pataxel takes his lead off at first, about 6.5 feet off. First pitch to Mensch is blocked by Johnson behind the plate for a ball. It's 1-0. Mensch is hitting .394 on the season. 13 hits and 33 at-bats. He's driven in 5, 4 walks, and he scored 10 runs. Breaking ball that's hit foul to our right and out of play above the dugout for Pepperdine. A 1-1 count to reset on Mensch. Middle infielders pinching towards the bag at second. Mensch squares to bunt, pulls it back, and it's called a strike. He doesn't like that call. You saw the reaction, sort of tilting his head back in disbelief. So now he's got 2 strikes, and that bunt you think would have moved Pataxel over. It didn't look like Klemp was coming down the line at all, so it would have been it would not have been a squeeze play. The 1-2, and Mensch will go down on strikes. 2 away now, and that'll bring up Tristan Gomez, the first baseman. Gomez just made a nice play out on the field, first out of the 4th inning. So he had to dive towards second base, away from the bag, and then had to flip it over to Brock Gillis, who was covering the bag at first. First pitch breaking ball strike called on Gomez. It'll be 0-1. Gomez is 0 for 1. He flew out to center field to Connor Bradshaw in his only at-bat today. 0 for 2 in this series. Got an inside pitch and sends it into the dugout for the Waves. Falls behind 0-2. Gomez hitting .303 on the season, 10 hits in 33 at-bats. He's driven in 10 runs. Oh, there's a hard hit ball into right field. Going back is Messino. He's at the warning track. And Yamo! Tristan Gomez adds some insurance for the Pilots. 3 runs will come in to score. It's now 4-0 in favor of Portland as Gomez nuked a ball just to the left of the scoreboard. So the offense has woken up for Portland here after an RBI double by Nick Klemp on a ball into right center field. Pataxel reaches on a single into right center field, and Gomez with a 3-run home run has really opened things up for Portland as Ty Saunders swings at a first pitch strike. 0-1. Saunders taking strike 2 on a slider that ends up over the black. 0-2. Llewellyn had let up 17 earned runs in 5 appearances this season. Now he's given up 4. The delivery, Saunders gets one off the end of the bat. 1-2 count. Saunders goes down on strikes. Bit on the inside breaking ball, and that'll end the Pilots' 4th inning, but not before they put up a 4 spot thanks to a 3-run home run by Tristan Gomez. And the Pilots take a 4-0 lead to the 5th. Coming to the plate for the Waves, Landis, Melhoff, and Oriana to try to respond on the WCC Network.
Leading off the top of the 5th inning for Pepperdine, the left fielder, number 11, Landis.
Welcome back to Joe Etzel Field as we're in the top of the 5th inning. Brian Schleicher on the call today. Brock Gillis back on the mound. He's got 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 4 innings of work on 43 pitches. Leading off is Quint Landis, the left fielder. He's 0 for 1 today as he takes a strike here to make it 0-1. And his only at-bat, Landis grounded out to Jake Sukata, who made a backhanded play over at third, hugging that line, and then threw out Landis over at first. Here he takes a ball, 1-1. Well, this Pilot Club is spoiled with the talent that they have on the infield and the versatility of multiple players playing multiple positions, as it's a 2-1 count now on Landis. The 2-1. No chase makes it 3-1. Sukata can play third. He can play second. You've got Pataxo. He can play second, short, or third. Saunders can play over at second as well. Spencer Scott has played third and short before. So you've got guys up and down this lineup that can play multiple positions and fill in, as Landis gets a walk to lead off the 5th. First runner aboard for Pepperdine since the first inning, and the very first batter is Grant Shane walked to open up this game. Only the second walk issued by Gillis. His 13th of the season compared to his 36 strikeouts. Breaking ball, slider, first strike, 0-1. Landis with a decent lead. Now he takes an extra half step over at first. Gillis peeks over his shoulder. He'll come home with it. Oriana, no chase on a ball that went above the letters. Evens the count at 1-1. Runners going. Oriana swings, pops this one up into shallow left field. It's in foul territory. Sukata trying to chase it down, and he cannot make a play. He would have had to go over the shoulder to try to make that one. Briley Knight was closing in from left, but he couldn't make a play on it either. So Oriana stays alive. Landis has to go back to first as he was attempting to steal second. Gillis will probably have to keep an extra eye on the base runner over at first and Landis. The 1-2 to Oriana. Swings at the high fastball. So there's the out. Correction, that was Melhoff. So his second strikeout. My apologies. Now it's Lincoln Oriana, who's 0 for 1 today with a fly out to center field to Jake Holcroft. Gillis again, backdoor breaking ball, first strike. Starts out Oriana with an 0-1 count. The first baseman from Apple Valley, California, takes ball 1. With a 1-1 count, Oriana's batting 167 this season. 6 hits and 36 at-bats. 12 strikeouts, 8 walks. As Landis still over at first, smaller lead this time. Breaking ball inside. Looked like a slider that was about thigh high, inner part of the plate for strike 1 and 2. Saunders will cover the bag at second in case Landis goes. He's got a bigger lead now with 2 strikes. Gillis trying to induce a swing and miss. Oriana not falling for it, 2 and 2. Landis is 1 for 1 this year. in stolen bases and attempts. Check swing. They appeal down to third, and he did not go around. That'll be a full count now. Three-two with one out. Landis is going towards second. Ground ball hit over to Gomez. He'll gobble it up, step on the bag for the force out at first. Moving up to second is Landis, so he's now in scoring position for Cam Conley, who's 0 for 1 today. Conley popped out to Ty Saunders, the shortstop. It's 0 for 8 on the season. Inside, missing the zone for a ball. Starts Conley out with a 1-0 count. Conley, a sophomore from Lincoln University, Pennsylvania. Played in 48 games last season, 47 starts as he hit .239. Ground ball hit to Sukata, goes off the side of his glove. Saunders is there to back him up, and he bounces it over, but it goes underneath the glove of Gomez. Landis, who was at third, will score as Gomez had to go retrieve that ball at the fence, and the Waves have their first run of the day after the error. Tough play right there as the ball, originally it was Sukata who had a play on it over at third, went off the end of his glove. Saunders rounded up behind it, almost had the plays. It bounced into Gomez, but underneath his glove. They'll count that one as a hit. And then the error afterwards. Here's a bunt down the first baseline, touched by Gomez, but in foul territory. So Conley gets his first hit of his college career. The error advances the runner, so that'll be an unearned run. As Connor Bradshaw 0 for 1 today with a ground out to Pataxel at second. The 0-1 with 2 outs. That one missing low for a ball makes the count 1-1. Infield playing back Sukata. Toes are on the infield grass as Bradshaw had a fastball high and inside. He now sits ahead on the count 2-1. Well, we've got plenty of people in the stands. We also have plenty of people standing up on the concourse as well. The 2-1 fouled back into the netting behind home plate to even the count at 2-2. Of course, that'll always wake you up behind home plate. Gill is trying to get out of this inning with only giving up the 1 run. Runner goes towards second. Klemp comes up throwing. Saunders has it, but can't apply the tag, and that'll be a stolen base for Conley. It's Conley's first stolen base of the season, playing in his 6th game. And now he's in scoring position for Bradshaw. That allows Pataxo now to play in shallow right field with the left-handed pull bat up. Full count with 2 outs. Fouled back into the netting. So you see everybody go back behind home plate with that foul ball. Resets everything with a 3-2 count. Gillis at 17 pitches already this inning. Came into the 5th with a pitch count of 43. He now sits at 60. 3-2. Awfully close and called a ball. Bradshaw will get on with a walk. And that'll send us back to the top of the lineup to Grant Shane, who has been nothing but consistent on getting on base 4 different times already in this series. He's 0 for 1 today with a walk back in the first inning, and then he flew out to right field to Henry Mensch back in the third. And now we're going to have a mound visit from Coach Lambert. This is the most hot water that Gillis has been in today. Now, his leadoff walk has produced the only run for Pepperdine, and it scored on a throwing error from Ty Saunders. And with nobody up in the bullpen for Portland, this has to be just talking strategy and calming down his pitcher. Just telling him, stay in front. You've been delivering strikes on your first pitch to each batter. Keep the ball low, trying to get a ground ball. Let's try to limit this damage right now as it's 4-1. Portland leading in the top of the fifth inning with 2 outs as Grant Shane comes to the plate. Shane, the local product from Clackamas, Oregon, went to Clackamas High School. In fact, he was a Hall of Fame inductee at Clackamas High School back in 2019 as the former Mount Hood Player of the Year. So he hit .370 as a senior and was first team All-State. Gillis delivers the first pitch strike to open up this at-bat, 0-1. Shane taking strike 2. He mouths something to himself. And a bit of frustration as he takes that strike and falls behind 0-2. Wind starting to move a little bit with the flag in center field. The 0-2. Slider bottom of the zone. No call from the home plate umpire. And Shane lives to see another pitch. 1-2. The 1-2 with 2 outs. Gillis looks back at the runner at second. Shane fights off the shin high pitch. 1-2. Over at second is Conley. Bradshaw's at first. Conley got his first hit of the season. So he's only playing in his 6th game. The 1-2 in the dirt, blocked by Klemp. Both runners stay put. That'll even the count at 2-2. The 2-2. And Shane, who started out 0-2 in this at-bat, has worked himself back to a full count, 3-2. Gillis just trying to get out of this inning right now. This is the longest he's been on the mound. He's at 25 pitches in this inning. Both runners are going with 2 outs, fouled back. And if the netting wasn't here, it would have gone right into this booth. We'll go back to the full count, 3-2. Well, after today's game, still Portland Pilot action going on as the women's basketball team has their NCAA tournament game against Oklahoma at 6 p.m. as ball 4 thrown to Grant Shane. And now the bases are loaded for what is a dangerous hitter in John Peck. Connolly over at third, Bradshaw at second, and Shane with his second walk and 5th time reaching base in this series stands over at first as Peck 0 for 2 today. A strikeout and a ground out to the first baseman Gomez. It's 0 for 7 in this series, but highly thought of as the #1 draft prospect in the West Coast Conference this season, according to Perfect Game, as Gillis starts him out with a ball, 1-0. Wasn't too long ago that Gillis had 5 strikeouts and only 1 walk. Now it's 6 strikeouts to 4 walks as Peck Puts one into the air into right center field. Mensch is going back at the gap in front of the warning track, and he makes the catch at the warning track at one of the deepest parts of the ball field, and that ends the threat for Pepperdine. Only one run comes in to score off of an error as we head to the bottom of the fifth inning. A 4-1 lead for the Pilots. Coming to the plate, it's Holcroft, Sukata, and Tolia on the WCC Network.
Pilots baseball will be right back here at Joe Wetzel Field on Sunday as the Pilots wrap up their series with the Waves. First pitch is at 1 p.m. Visit PortlandPilots.com/tickets to secure your spot today. A reminder, fans, to be alert for balls leaving the field of play at any moment.
Welcome back to Joe Wetzel Field. As we start the bottom of the fifth inning, Jake Holcroft leads us off. He's 2 for 2 today with 2 singles. He also has a stolen base. Puts this one in the air into center field. Bradshaw initially had the idea. Now he's called off by his right fielder, Messino, and he will make the catch in right center field for the first down in the fifth inning. Say Holcroft yesterday was 3 for 4, reaching base 4 times. Today, now he's 2 for 3 as Jake Sukata comes to the plate. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. He also flew out to Bradshaw in center field. First pitch he sees from Llewellyn ends up in the right-handed batter's box, 1-0. No changes defensively for Pepperdine as we're here in the fifth inning. Sukata fouls this one off. It'll be a 1-1 count. The outfield, Landis in left, Bradshaw in center, Messino is in right. Melhoff, the third baseman, back at short, Connolly over at second base, and then Oriana, the first baseman for the Waves, and then Ryan Johnson is the catcher still. As Sukata steps back into the box with a 1-1 count. Ground ball hit to the right side, taken in by Connolly on an up hop. And there's 2 away after the ground out. Normally, you like to see the Pilots trying to respond after giving up a run to get one back. They've done that a couple of times in response this season. In fact, they did it yesterday as well, back in the 7th inning when Pepperdine scored 2 runs to take the lead by 1. At least Portland scored 1 run to tie it up in the bottom of the 7th as Zach Tolia swings at the first pitch he sees on a fastball, 0-1. Tolia is 1 for 2 today with a single where he came around to score in the 4th as he takes ball 1 of this at bat, 1-1. He did strike out back in the first inning as well. That ball at the bottom and missing the zone. It'll make it a 2-1 count. Put in the air and out of play to our right across the street. So that will even the count at 2-2 now on Tolia. Infield playing back with the 2-2 and 2 outs. Tolia breaking ball, ground ball hit over to third, taken in by Melhoff. and throws it over in time. A 1-2-3 inning for the Pilots at the plate. We head to the 6th inning with a 4-1 lead for Portland. It's Ryan Johnson, Charles Messino, and Quint Landis when we return on the WCC Network. Top of the 6th inning here at Joe Etzel Field. A 4-1 lead for the Portland Pilots as Ryan Johnson, 0 for 2 today, leads off the Waves. Has a strikeout looking back in the 1st and a strikeout swinging in the 4th as Gillis has gotten him twice. 2 of those 6 strikeouts. Johnson takes a breaking ball on the far side of the plate. It's 0-1 to start him off. Off speed, looked like a changeup right there from Gillis. Gets Johnson to swing and miss, 0-2. Johnson patient, not chasing on that pitch away from him. 1-2. Pilots took the series the last time these two teams played here in Portland as Johnson goes down with his 3rd strikeout. And that's the first out here in the 6th. 7th K for Gillis today as Charles Messino will come to the plate. He's 0 for 2. Messino struck out in the 1st, and then he grounded out to Tristan Gomez at 1st. And that happened in the 4th inning. Right side of the infield playing back as Messino takes an inside fastball for a ball, 1-0. Mensch playing deep in right field. Pataxel, the second baseman, is in shallow right, with Gomez, the first baseman's heels, on the outfield grass. High fastball from Gillis that got away from him. 2-0 on Messino. Messino looking for his 10th hit on the year. He's got 9 that have driven in 1 run. He himself has scored 7 runs as he takes a slider that cuts over the plate last second for a strike. 2-1. It seems like more and more people coming into the ballpark right now as the weather is still beautiful here on the bluff with the sun shining down. 3-1 on Messino. Haven't seen weather like this since probably around last May as Messino pops this one up in foul territory. It's going to be in front of the dugout of Portland. Sukata looking for it, chasing it down, and he makes the catch behind him over his left shoulder. 2 away here quickly in the 6th. Quinn Landis will now come to the plate. As Gillis now reaching 87 pitches. Don't see anybody warming up in their bullpen, so he might come out for another inning of work if this is quick, and it is. Ground ball over to Sukata. He charges it. High throw taken in by Gomez, and a 1-2-3 inning for the Pepperdine Waves in the 6th. Makes it a 4-1 lead for Portland still as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Briley Knight comes to the plate with Nick Klemp and Ben Pataxel, all when we return on the other side.
Nike, Coca-Cola, U.S. Bank, Portland North Marriott, Les Schwab Tires, and Northwest Navigator.
Briley Knight steps to the plate to start the bottom of the 6th inning. He's 0 for 2 today. Curveball from Llewellyn just off the plate on the far side away from Knight. It'll be 1-0, to start him off. The right side of the infield pulled back. Connolly, the second baseman in shallow right field. Oriana, the first baseman, playing just in front of that outfield grass on the right side of your screen. Ground ball to the right side. Oriana gobbles it up. He'll step on the bag at first, and Knight is retired for the 3rd time today. And they have made a change in the scorebook, by the way. What was a hit for Conley has now been changed to an error. So no official hit right now for Pepperdine as they got 1 run up on the board as Nick Klemp now comes to the plate. Klemp takes a strike. Had been having about a quiet week as you could have as Nick Klemp since the start of this season. So he'd only reached base a couple of times thanks to the walk. And here he gets his 3rd hit of the day. He singled and doubled earlier. Here he might double again as this one goes high off the wall near the corner. And it's a sliding double for Nick Klemp. His 3rd hit of the afternoon. And he's been hitting it all over the place. He went into right center field his last double. This time he turns on one, sends it down the left field line for a double, and he's in scoring position for Ben Pataxel. Pataxel's 1 for 2 today, struck out in the 2nd inning. In the 4th, he singled and later came around to score thanks to that 3-run home run by Tristan Gomez. Breaking ball that stayed high. Start Pataxel out 1-0. Taking a strike there to even the count at 1-1. No movement from the outfield for the Waves. The 1-1. Ground ball up the middle. Underneath the diving glove of Conley. Klemp gets sent home, rounds 3rd, and he will score an RBI single for Ben Pataxel. And the Pilots get that 1 run back that they gave up to the Waves in the top of the 5th inning, and it's now 5-1. Henry Mensch comes to the plate. He had a great series against Niagara this past weekend. That sort of trickled into Tuesday of this week. So he hit over 400, including a 4 RBI game in the Friday afternoon game 1 of that series, in which the Pilots won 19-2. He had 4 hits that afternoon, replacing Christian Cooney, who had to leave the game with an injury after being hit by a pitch. He's been in the lineup ever since. Doesn't chase at one that ends up in the left-handed batter's box. Mensch, though, today struck out looking and a strikeout swinging. So he's looking to get on for the first time today. Slider first strike, makes it 2-1. Mensch yesterday made a fantastic grab, a diving effort in right field, and then he doubled up Ryan Johnson, who made a base running error, who was standing on second when Mensch made the catch, throw over to first, Pataxo back safely. Normally you want to go about halfway, 3/4 of the way. You want to see where that ball lands, but Johnson never really eyed it and was standing on second, and then it was too late as Mensch popped right up, threw it over to first, and Johnson was only halfway back to first. As Mensch swings and misses on that fastball, 2-2. Talking with Coach Hertensteiner for Pepperdine. The 2-2 to Mensch, swings and ends up in the glove of Johnson, so his 3rd strikeout of the day. But Coach Hertensteiner, when I talked to him, this team is on a 4-game losing streak right now, but he quickly corrected, saying, no, we're 0-1 in conference. We have a 1-game losing streak after yesterday. Today's a new day, though, and we're going to try to win this one. That's kind of the mentality you have to have in these long seasons, especially starting a non-conference in February, and then you play all the way through May. Pepperdine trying to get their first conference victory of the season. As Tristan Gomez steps to the plate, he's 1 for 2 today, but that one hit was a big one. A 3-run home run in the 4th inning made it a 4-0 lead for Portland, as they now sit comfortably with a 5-1 lead. Connolly standing on the outfield grass. A throw inside to Gomez, fouls it off to the left of the dugout for Pepperdine, quickly behind 0-2. Gomez and Toia will be splitting time over at first. Sometimes you'll see them still in the lineup together, though. One at DH, one over at first, as Gomez is going to put this one down the right field line. It's going to go towards the foul pole. Pataxo's being sent home by Coach Loomis around third. The throw is going to be cut off by Conley, and it's an RBI double for Tristan Gomez. He now has 4 RBI on the day. Pataxo putting his PF Flyers on, scoring all the way from first. Knew where that ball was hit and had an easy route over to third. And Coach Loomis knew he had the wheels to at least score. Sends him home. And the Pilots now lead 6-1 as Ty Saunders comes to the plate. Saunders is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Pilots have 10 hits up on the board, still 0 hits for Pepperdine, as Brock Gillis has done a great job out on the mound today. Has given up a few more walks than he would like, but overall kept Pepperdine at bay. An error, unfortunately, scored the only run for Pepperdine, the 0-1. Saunders swings at one low that Johnson gloves, 0-2. Strike 3, Saunders goes down with his 3rd strikeout of the day. This time it's looking, and that strands Gomez over at second. But the Pilots scored 2 runs thanks to an RBI single from Pataxo and an RBI double from Tristan Gomez to make it 6-1. We head to the 7th inning. Greg Melhoff, Lincoln Oriana, and Cam Conley due up next for the Waves. Greg Melhoff will come to the plate for his third time today to lead off the 7th inning for Pepperdine. The Waves still looking for their first hit of the afternoon. They've reached base via the walk and an error, but have not had much luck today. Melhoff, first swing on the pitch, goes right at Henry Mensch, who doesn't even have to take a step. And the lineout will be the first out here in the 7th. And that's exactly what Gillis would like, especially on the mound, as he's now at 88 pitches after that last one. There's an arm warming up in the bullpen. It looks like Jack Folkens for Portland, as Lincoln Oriana will come to the plate. He too is 0 for 2. Fly out to Holcroft in center. His last time up, though, pulled the ball down the line that Tristan Gomez was able to glove and step on the bag to get the out. First pitch strike. It's 0-1 on Oriana. Sukata playing in on the infield grass. Oriana gets this off the end of the bat and dribbles over to Cam Conley on the on-deck circle. So 0-2. Ground ball that is just pulled foul in front of the bag over at first. So we'll reset with the 0-2 count. Gillis has gone through 6 1/3 innings of work. His longest outing that he's had in his career is 7 innings of work. He did that last year. He's also done it this year already against Utah Valley. The crowd wanted strike 3 right there, but Oriana happy to have another chance at the plate. Now a 1-2 count. High fly ball out into right field, and that might be the big first hit for the Waves, and it is. Home run for Lincoln Oriana. His first home run of the season, and the second run for the Pepperdine Waves, their first hit of the day, and it's now 6-2 after the home run. Well, you went 6 without giving up a hit. It was bound to happen at some point, as Cam Conley, who reached on an error, had a stolen base as well. Otherwise, he's 0 for 2. Pops this one up on the infield on the right side. Tristan Gomez backs up into shallow right field, hugging that line, makes the catch, and there's 2 away after the pop out. And now it's the 9-hole hitter and Connor Bradshaw. Bradshaw is 0 for 1 today. He did reach base back in the 5th with a walk. That inning, Gillis had 3 different walks and an error that brought in that first run for Pepperdine. Otherwise, Bradshaw grounded out to Ben Pataxo over at second as he opens up this at-bat with a ball, 1-0. Fouled off to even the count at 1-1. Sukata, the third baseman, is the only one that's playing in. He's about even with the bag. Toes almost on the infield grass. Everybody else staying back. As this one hit out into left center field, and this one is going to drop. Knight and Holcroft converge at the 369 marker. Knight comes up throwing, and it's a stand-up double for Connor Bradshaw. And the inning still alive for Pepperdine. Bradshaw did not get a hit at all yesterday. In fact, he only gets his 9th hit of the season. As Grant Shane comes to the plate. Shane 2 walks today and a fly out to Henry Mensch in right field. As Gillis, who held the Waves hitless through the first 6 innings, has now given up 2 hits. One a double, the other a home run. As Shane tries to get his first hit of the day. He had 3 hits yesterday. All of them were for singles. Strike from Gillis. Challenging Shane with a fastball, 1-1. Outfield just a shade deeper than they normally are. The 1-1 as Klemp had to get down low for that one. Takes it for a ball, makes it 2-1. This one's going to be hitting the gap again, but Briley Knight will make the diving grab in left center field. And that will end the inning for the Pepperdine Waves. As Briley Knight, looking like Superman, extending all the way out to make that diving grab. And that'll send us to the bottom of the 7th inning. If you aren't on your feet yet, you better get up now for the 7th inning stretch. Coming to the plate for the Pilots when we return, it's the top of the lineup in Jake Holcroft, Jake Sukata, and Zach Tolia on the WCC Network.
Sales will end at the end of the 7th inning. All right, fans, it's time to get up on your feet for our 7th inning stretch. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Now pitching for Pepperdine, number 51, Gunnar Nichols.
We welcome you back to Joe Etzel Field. A new arm is on the mound for the Pepperdine Waves. It's number 51, Gunnar Nichols. Nichols is making his 5th appearance on the season. He's thrown 8 innings so far with a 5.62 ERA, giving up 5 hits, 5 earned runs, and will keep that trend of 5s going as he's got 5 walks and 5 strikeouts as well. Opponents are hitting 192 against him. Which means Brandon Llewellyn's day is done as Holcroft takes ball 2. It's now 2-0. Llewellyn, not a terrible outing, but not his best work either. 6 innings of work. He gave up 10 hits, 6 earned runs, but he did have 9 strikeouts to no walks as Holcroft takes a high pitch from Nichols, puts it near that triangle into foul territory near the bullpen for Portland and just over the fence as Melhoff and Peck could not make a play on it, so we'll go back to the plate with a 2-1 count on Holcroft. Nichols, a freshman from Burbank, California, went to John Burroughs High School. inside on Holcroft, just turned out of the way of that one. Now ahead on the count 3-1. Nichols only played 2 years on the varsity level, but he was all CIF first team and first team all league as a senior. Went 10-2 with a 0.89 ERA through almost 80 innings of work as Holcroft fouls it off into the glove of Johnson for a strike. Full count now 3-2. In 78 2/3 innings, he fanned 107 batters, including going 3-0 in the playoffs with 30 strikeouts and 21 innings of work as Holcroft fights off that close pitch by just throwing his barrel at it. Fouls it off. We'll go back to the full count 3-2. Holcroft is 2 for 3 with 2 singles and a flyout. Puts a fly ball into left field. Going back is Landis. And, oh, the 2 Pepperdine players run into each other. No communication. Holcroft is rounding second. And he's going to try to get home with it. The throw comes in, and it is not in time. Holcroft gets all the way around. Landis and Bradshaw, no communication out in left center field, run into each other. The ball lands, Holcroft on his horse, scores all the way around, and 1 run scores, and they're going to mark that one an inside the park home run. Holcroft on his horse. So he gets his 6th hit in this series. And now you're going to have the trainer go out, and as they should. That looked like a very hard collision. Both players lost their feet on the turf. Bradshaw right now looks like he's got his hand on his face, and you don't like to see that. And it looks like he might have a bloody nose. The rag was brought out by the trainer for Pepperdine, and that's exactly what's happening. Bradshaw applying it to his nose. And so Holcroft, with the inside the park home run, adds on another run here in the 7th. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after Bradshaw gets attended to on the WCC Network. All right, we welcome you back to Joe Etzel Field. Good news is Connor Bradshaw is back out in center field after the collision with Quint Landis in the left center field gap. Got attended to inside the dugout, stopped the bloody nose, and he's ready to go. Curveball, first pitch to Sukata for a strike, 0-1. It was an inside the park home run for Holcroft. That's how they marked it down. Now, it did look like Landis did have his glove make contact with the ball as that ball slipped out of the hand of Nichols. It'll be 1-1 on Sukata. But it looked like Landis made contact with the ball, could have made that catch. But again, Bradshaw and Landis ran into each other. And so no play was made, and they marked it down as a hit. Off speed, fooled Sukata. He was early on that one, 1-2. Pepperdine trying to even the series at 1 game apiece. Portland trying to clinch the series with a win today as Sukata fouls it off. A slow roller right in front of the Pepperdine dugout. So we'll go to the 1-2 count again on Sukata. As more people still continue to trickle in here at Joe Etzel Field. It's hard not to be here with the sunshine coming down on us. Sukata swings at the curveball, and not enough bat on that one to make any connection. He goes down with a strikeout, and he is now 0 for 4 today. As the third baseman, Zach Tolia, will come to the plate. He's 1 for 3. Strikeout and a ground out, but his one hit was a single back in the fourth where he came around to score thanks to an RBI double by Nick Klemp. So now he steps to the plate with 1 out. It looks like Nichols is going to give you a steady dose of curveballs. The open stance from the right side. Nichols puts one out of the zone near the feet. 2-0 now on Tolia. Tolia fouls us into the backstop. First strike, it'll make it 2-1. Tolia hit the first home run for the Pilots during their home season. And that was against Niagara. Here's a ground ball down the third baseline. It's going to be gloved by Melhoff, and the low throw taken in by Oriana. And Tolia is retired. 2 outs now here in the bottom of the 7th, bringing Briley Knight to the plate. Briley Knight is 0 for 3. A ground out to first, ground out to second, and another ground out to third. He has not left the infield today as Conley, the second baseman, takes his position in shallow right field. Curveball drops out of the zone. These two teams have split the last 10 meetings, 5 apiece, as Knight takes a strike right there, 1-1. Pilots who finished with their best finish in West Coast Conference play at 2nd place last season. Picked to finish 4th this year. Pepperdine picked to finish 6th as Briley Knight missing on that fastball low and away, 1-2. Curveball that never stood a chance. Ball to Knight. That'll make it 2-2. Nichols is in his first inning of work. Knight doesn't chase on the ball, just off the plate. Full count now. Klemp is on deck if Knight can extend this inning. Full count, 3-2, and it's ball 4. Knight will reach for the first time this afternoon. And Klemp will come to the plate. He's a perfect 3 for 3 at the dish. 2 doubles, an RBI, and a single. Singled in the first, had the RBI double in the fourth, and then he had a double in the sixth where he came around to score thanks to Ben Pataxel. Klemp had been quiet leading into this weekend, relatively quiet for his terms, after that blistering start at Utah Tech and Texas A&M. Had a good series against Utah Valley, but had a single and a couple of walks against Niagara. Now he's got 3 hits already today. And he surpassed his season total of last year of 29, and he now has 31 after he gets his 4th hit here today. Knight rounds second. He's heading towards third. Klemp will take the extra 90 on the throw to third. And now there's 2 pilots in scoring position for Ben Pataxel. That'll be a single issued to Klemp, his 4th hit. As Pataxel, who's 2 for 3 today, 2 singles. He scored twice. His most latest single in the 6th brought in Nick Klemp. That's his lone RBI on the day. And now the Pilots threatening more insurance right here as they lead by 5, 7-2 after the inside the park home run by Holcroft. Breaking ball, Pataxel turns on it and it goes foul down the third baseline. Looks like Nick Brink hops over the fence into shallow left field to get that foul ball. 0-1. Pataxel swing, fouled off. Johnson actually had to get his glove off. Bit of discomfort after that last pitch as Pataxel now behind 0-2. Pataxel was hitting 200 coming into this series, and with his 2 hits today and his 2 hits yesterday, he's lifted his batting average by 42 points. He's now batting .242 on the season. The 0-2. Curveball in the dirt as he tells the base runner over at third and Knight to stay put. 1-2. Pataxel fights off the pitch that was close to the zone. Will go back to the 1-2 count as he sends it to our right and out of play. The 1-2 breaking ball. Pataxel puts it in the air. Bradshaw's going back. He's getting behind it, reaching for the wall, at the wall, and makes a leaping grab on the warning track. And Pataxel will be retired on the flyout, but a run comes in to score thanks to Jake Holcroft putting on his PF Flyers, getting around the bases for an inside the park home run. As we head to the 8th inning, it's 7-2 Portland. Peck, Johnson, and Messino come to the plate next for the Waves.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Now pitching for the Pilots, number 40, Jack Fulkins. Leading off the top of the 8th inning for the Waves, at shortstop, number 6, John Peck.
Welcome back to Joe Etzel Field. Brock Gillis' day is done. Jack Folkens enters now on the mound for the Pilots. Folkens, first pitch to John Peck is called a strike. It'll be 0-1. Check swing. They appeal down to first, call the ball. It's 1-1. Folkens is making his 7th appearance on the season. He's got a 2-1 record with a 0.87 ERA through 10 1/3 innings of work. He's given up 3 hits, 1 earned run. Ground ball hit over to Sukata, and he took an awkward hop. The ball did, I should say, and it looked like it went over his shoulder. And it's a leadoff single for Peck as he gets his first hit in this series. Peck was 0 for 3 today, and he was 0 for 5 yesterday. So now he's 1 for 9 in this series. As Ryan Johnson comes to the plate, he looks to avoid the golden sombrero. He's struck out 3 times already, and he doesn't want to fall victim a 4th time. They're actually going to mark that one down as an error. I'm going to give that one a hit in my book. As Johnson takes a strike from Folkens, starts out 0-1. Ball 1 makes it 1-1 now. The Taxa will cover the bag at second if the runner goes. Peck is 2 for 2 this season on stolen bases. Takes a big secondary. Johnson lays off the pitch that's high and away. 2-1. Johnson fooled on the off speed from Folkens, evens the count at 2-2 after that swing and miss. Brock Gillis' stat line for the day: he got through 7 innings on 107 pitches, gave up 2 hits, both came in the 7th. 2 runs, only one of them earned, and that came off a solo home run. Folkens breaking ball, missing there high. Full count now 3-2. Did have 7 strikeouts and 4 walks. Those 4 walks, though, a bit high for Gillis. He'd be the first to admit that. Full count on Johnson. Ball hit hard into left center field. Holcroft is near the fence, and he'll make the catch in front of the 369 marker. A long, loud out by Ryan Johnson is the first one retired here in the 8th. And that'll bring up Charles Messina, who's 0 for 3 today. A strikeout, ground out, and a pop out. And now we're going to have a mound visit from Coach Lambert. There is an arm warming up for Portland. It looks to be Nick Brink, number 37. He's a right-hander, so is Folkens right now. So you're not going to be playing a matchup game with Messina, the left-handed bat, coming to the plate. I have to think maybe Folkens is only in here for this 1 inning and try not to focus too much on Peck and maybe keep the ball low, get a double play, get out of this inning. The Pilots do have a somewhat comfortable 5-run lead. You know you can't give up the lead on 1 swing. Coach Lambert jogging back to the dugout. Folkens will stay put, and the infield goes back to their positions. Again, top of the 8th inning, 7-2 lead right now for Portland. Messino went 1 for 4 yesterday. The umpire trying to tell the crew up here to cut the music before the pitch. But Messino 1 for 4 yesterday, 0 for 3 today. He's 1 for 7 in this series. Pops this one up on the infield. Pataxel in shallow right field will make the catch. And there's 2 away quickly for Fulkins. And that'll bring up Quint Landis. Landis is 0 for 2 today with a walk. Both times he's grounded out to Jake Sukata over at third. Secondary by Pack. Doesn't matter as Landis takes ball 1 in the left-handed batter's box. The 1-0. That one falls in the zone for a strike to even the count at 1-1. Fulkins, another one of those guys from O'Day High School on this Portland roster. Mentioned Pataxel as well. That ball misses, 2-1. Be great if the Pilots could get a win here. Start 2-0 in conference as Landis fouls off the inside pitch behind him. 2-2. Two. Just missing. Good call by the home plate umpire as it was off the plate. Full count now for Landis. Fulkins, you're trying to get out of this inning. Brink is done warming up in the bullpen for Portland. There are some bodies in the bullpen for Pepperdine. Runner's going for second, and it's ball 4 to Landis. Doesn't matter. Peck will move up to second on the walk. And now there's 2 aboard with 2 outs as Greg Melhoff will come to the plate. He's 0 for 3 today. Melhoff, 2 strikeouts, and then he lined out to Henry Mensch in right field. Directly at him, Mensch did not have to move. Sukata's feet are on the infield grass. Pataxel, the second baseman, is setting up in shallow right field. Gomez, the first baseman, heels just inside of the outfield grass. First pitch to Melhoff, fouled off to our left and out of the stadium, 0-1. The 0-1, breaking ball. Never in the zone, away from Melhoff, 1-1. Fouled off into the netting behind home plate. 2 strikes now with the 1-2 count. Strike 3. Both runners left stranded on base. The threat is done here in the 8th as the score remains 7-2 in favor of Portland. We head to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's the bottom 3 in the lineup. Mensch, Gomez, and Saunders to the plate next on the WCC Network. We welcome you back to Joe Etzel Field. Brian Slyke on the call right now. A 7-2 lead for the Portland Pilots over the Pepperdine Waves as Henry Mensch comes to the plate for the 4th time today. As he too, much like Ryan Johnson last half inning, looks to avoid the golden sombrero. He's already struck out 3 times today. 1 looking in the 2nd, 2 times swinging in the 4th and the 6th inning. Came in after hitting .426 in the series against Niagara. So he takes a strike to even the count at 1-1. Yesterday, 3 walks and a double. So he reached base all 4 times. Looping curveball right there. Mensch trying to put that over the fence. Almost lost his footing there. It's 1-2. Curveball inside. Mensch not afraid of it. It'll be 2-2. This ball hit into left field, and it'll drop. It's cut off by Landis. Mensch trying to stretch it into a double. The throw will be late, sliding in head first. And Mensch gets his first hit of the day. Double to start off this 8th inning. He's in scoring position for Tristan Gomez. As Henry Mensch picks up his 15th hit on the season. Pilots continue to hit. They now have 13 in this game. They had 13 yesterday in their 5-4 victory. Tristan Gomez steps into the left-handed batter's box. He's 2 for 3 today. 4 RBI. His 2 hits, it was a 3-run home run in the 4th and an RBI double back in the 6th. Nichols fastball at the knees, far side of the plate for a strike, 0-1. Gomez takes strike 2, and he falls behind 0-2 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Infield playing deep for the most part. Right side of the infield, their heels are near the outfield grass. Gomez pops this up. It'll go out of play to our left, though. Go back to the 0-2 count on the first baseman. The junior from Omaha, Nebraska has been a nice addition for Portland. Him and Talia, as Portland lost both of their first basemen. This one goes through the legs of Johnson. Mensch will move up to 3rd. So he is now 90 feet away from scoring. And it went through the legs. I think they'll mark that one down as a pass ball instead of a wild pitch. But we'll see as they mark that one down. They will mark it down as a wild pitch. Now the infield brought in for Pepperdine with no outs and the runner over at 3rd. Gomez put a barrel on it, just enough to stay alive on a borderline pitch. 1-2. So 1-2 count. And Gomez will go down with a strikeout. First out here, and that'll bring up Ty Saunders, who's 0 for 3 today. Saunders, much like Mensch, 3 strikeouts already. 2 of them were swinging. One of them is of the backwards K variety. That happened in the 6th inning. His previous 2 at-bats before that happened in the 3rd and the 4th. Infield still drawn in with the runner over at 3rd. Shallow fly ball into right field. Now Messino's coming in, and he's going to get behind it, make the catch. Mensch tagging up from 3rd to throw into Johnson is late. Sliding in feet first, it's Mensch, and a sacrifice fly for Saunders gives him an RBI, and the Pilots an 8-2 lead. And that'll bring up Jake Holcroft, who's 3 for 4 today, much like yesterday when he was 3 for 4 with 3 singles and a walk. Today he's 3 for 4 with 2 singles and an inside the park home run. Line drive over the glove of a jumping John Peck, and he singles into left field. A 4-hit day for Jake Holcroft. As Jake Sukata now comes to the plate. Holcroft gets his first 4-hit game of the season. He joins Henry Mensch with 1. Nick Klemp has 2 on the year. Sukata, though, he owns the record against a Division I opponent. He had 6 hits in a single game against the University of the Pacific 2 years ago. Holcroft takes his lead off at first. Nichols peeks over. Now he gets set from the stretch on the third base side of the rubber. Fastball away. No chase from Sukata. 2-0. Sukata again not going after the outside pitch. (3-0). Sukata takes strike 1. I'm sure he was told to take that pitch with a 3-0 count on Gunnar Nichols. Waves will be down to their final 3 outs after this inning as Sukata hits a chopper over to second. Conley takes it on an up hop and gets it over to first in time. Sukata's retired. The Pilots strand 1, but not before they get another run across with a sacrifice fly from Ty Saunders, scoring Henry Mensch. It's 8-2 as we head to the 9th inning. Oriana, Conley, and Bradshaw coming to the plate for the Waves when we return.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Now playing third base for Portland, number 6, Spencer Scott. Leading off the 9th inning for the Waves, first baseman, number 33, Lincoln Oriana.
Welcome back to Joe Etzel Field for the 9th inning. Jack Folkens is back on the mound for a 2nd inning of work as he starts out against Lincoln Oriana, who is 1 for 3 today. His 1 hit, though, was a home run into right field, which is the first hit that was given up by Brock Gillis. Came all the way in the 7th inning. Lines one into center field. Holcroft will come in and take it off of a bounce, and Oriana has his 2nd hit of the day. It's a leadoff single here in the 9th inning. as Cam Connolly, who's 0 for 3 today, 2 pop outs, and then he reached on an error, now comes to the plate. Connolly takes a strike from Folkens. 0-1 to start off this at-bat. Slips out of the hand of Folkens, stays high for a ball, 1-1. Have a pinch runner over at first. It's not Oriana anymore. Get you the name in just a second as Connolly takes ball 2. No, it is still Oriana over at first. Decent lead off the bag. The 2-1. Connolly looked a bit fooled there, but takes a ball. Now sits with a 3-1 count. And he's on the verge of getting 2 Pepperdine players on base without an out. Ball 4. So after the leadoff single, it's a walk issued to Cam Connolly. Oriana now at second. Connolly is at first, and Connor Bradshaw comes to the plate. Bradshaw is 1 for 2 today. He did walk in the 5th. He was left stranded at second. And then in the 7th inning, he hit a double where he got stranded. Was 0 for 4 yesterday. As Folkens goes off speed on the first pitch for a strike, 0-1. Popped up. It'll go out of play behind us, though, so Bradshaw behind 0-2 in the count. Fans not leaving early, and you'll love to see that. Sticking around until the very end. As it's an 0-2 count. 8-2 lead. Folkens throws. High hit ball into right field. Mensch is going to his left. Oriana will tag up from second. Mensch with the cannon is going to let it go all the way to third. Scott applies the tag, but there's 1 out. Moving the runner over to third, it's Oriana. Staying put at first is Connolly, and there's 1 away as we go to the top of the lineup to bring up Grant Shane. Shane is 0 for 2 today, but he has reached base twice via the walk. Both times, though, he was left stranded at first base. Briley Knight robbed him of a hit back in the 7th inning. What looked like could have fallen for another hit in that 7th inning. Briley Knight went full extension in left center field in a diving effort to rob a hit from Shane. Shane could get his first RBI if he gets a base hit here. Just his 4th game played this year, as Klemp took that foul ball off the helmet, but he seems to be okay. Folkens goes high. The 1-1. Folkens seems to be missing high here in this inning, as he falls behind 2-1 in the count with runners on the corners. This ball is going to be hit down the line and land in front of Henry Mensch. He cuts it off before it gets to the corner. 1 run is going to score. Moving over to third is Conley on the RBI single from Grant Shane, his first RBI of the season. So now it's 8-3 in favor of Portland as John Peck will come to the plate. He just picked up his first hit in this series back in the 8th inning. Before that, he was 0 for 8. Now he's 1 for 9. He was left stranded at second, though, back in the 8th. Slider off the plate, starts off this at-bat 1-0. Peck laying off the high pitch, and now Folkens is running into a bit of trouble with his location. And Dobmeyer is now warming up in the bullpen for Portland, and Folkens can't close the door here. Peck, ground ball, and past a diving Ty Saunders into left field. Conley scores from third, and an RBI single for the shortstop from Pepperdine. Back-to-back hits for him after a slow start to this series. Shane moves up to second, and now it's 8-4. And we're going to have a mound visit from Coach Lambert as Folkens has run into trouble, missing his points around the plate. Lambert speaking with Folkens, looking at the body language right now. I don't know if they're trying to get Dobmeyer a couple more warm-up pitches in before throwing it, and that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to take a break as Folkens hands the ball over to Coach Lambert. Pitching change at Joe Etzel Field. Runners on first and second. 2 runs already in for Pepperdine. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Now pitching for the Pilots, number 10, Jacob Dobmeyer.
Pitching change for the Pilots as we welcome you back in the top of the 9th inning. It's Jacob Dobmeyer. Dobmeyer yesterday got the save as he threw the 9th inning, giving up only 1 hit, got 2 strikeouts in that save. Now he comes out for a 2nd consecutive game for Portland. He inherits 2 runners on base and a 4-run lead as Ryan Johnson is at the plate. He's 0 for 4 today, 3 strikeouts and a flyout to Jake Holcroft in center field. Ground ball that's pulled foul down the third baseline. Dobmeyer's making his 7th appearance as a .90 ERA, 2 saves after yesterday through 10 innings of work, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts, 4 walks. Opponents are hitting .206 off of him. There's 1 defensive change as Spencer Scott is now in the game at third base, taking over for Jake Sukata. The 1-1, Dobmeyer throws, fouled off to our right, and that'll go across the street and out of play. 1-2 on Johnson as he tries to avoid his 4th strikeout on the day. The 1-2 from Dobmeyer. High fly ball that is going to go on top of the Pianovi hitting facility. In fact, it landed on the other side of the hitting facility. So a loud strike for Johnson. Back to the 1-2 count. Johnson again fighting off a pitch to stay alive at the plate with 2 strikes. Johnson's hitting .392 on the season. He's got 20 hits, 16 RBI. He hits .476 with runners on, .455 with runners in scoring position. The 1-2. Another one fouled off. Seeing a lot of pitches from Dobmeyer right now. Fulton's got through an inning and a third on 38 pitches. He gave up 3 hits. Currently, though, he's responsible for the 2 runs here in the 9th. He's also responsible for the 2 runners on base, so we'll have to get final numbers in just a minute, but 1 strikeout and 2 walks in his outing. The 1-2 from Dobmeyer, ground ball, and past Dice Saunders into left field. Knight fields it, glove side, comes up throwing to Spencer Scott. And the 4th hit of this inning. They've all been singles. And now the bases are loaded as Shane is over at third. Peck is at second. Johnson is at first. And that brings up Charles Messino, who's 0 for 4. 2 pop outs, a ground out to first, and a strikeout has been his day at the plate. Messino with 1 RBI on the season and 9 hits. His 10th hit would bring in 1, if not 2, to pad his stats. Slider from Dobmeyer, just missing low and off the plate. You can hear the displeasure from the fans here at Joe Etzel Field. They wanted a strike called. It's 1-0 to start off this at-bat. The 1-0. Ground ball back up the middle, and it's stopped by Ty Saunders. That's going to limit the plays for the Pepperdine Waves. That'll save a run. Shane will come in, though, on the RBI single by Messino. So he gets his 2nd RBI on the season and his 10th hit. And it's now 8-5 as things have gotten tight here at Joe Etzel Field. They were leading 8-2 coming into the 9th, and the Waves are making a late inning run here with 4 consecutive singles and a 5th hit in this inning alone as Quint Landis steps into the batter's box. He's 0 for 2 today with 2 walks and a run scored. Ground ball off the end of the bat, and that one almost had enough spin on it. It looked like it might go back in fair play, but instead it goes for a strike as Gomez touches it. All runners go back. Peck is at third, Johnson is at second, and then Messino is over at first right now for Pepperdine. Landis only has 2 extra base hits this season out of his 7 hits at the plate. They're both for doubles. The 0-1. Dobmeyer comes home with it. Ground ball hit to the right side. Pataxo plays it, gets the throw over to first. Landis will be out, but he will get the RBI that scores Peck. And now there's 2 gone here in the 9th inning, but the Pilots still not out of trouble as the tying run stands at second base right now as Greg Melhoff steps to the plate. He's 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, and a line out to Henry Mensch. That lineout happened in the 7th. His most recent at-bat in the 8th ended with a strikeout swinging. Pataxo playing in shallow right field.
Dobmeyer's fastball first strike, far side of the plate on Melhoff, 0-1. Gomez, the first baseman, his heels are near the outfield grass. Saunders, the shortstop, behind the base runner at second, but in shallow left center field. Outfield playing deep to keep everything in front of him. Ground ball over to Spencer Scott, fields it, throw over in time, and that'll end it. The Pilots take this one 8-6, but not before the Pepperdine Waves give a scare here in the 9th inning by putting up 4 runs to make it 8-6 in the ball game today. It was all Pilots early on, as neither team scored in the first 3 innings, and then the Pilots put a 4 spot up in the 4th thanks to a 3-run home run from Tristan Gomez. And the Pilots take this one 8-6, and they clinch the series. Their 4th time this year that they've clinched the series, this time at home, and they take the WCC series opener against the Pepperdine Waves. Game 3 will be tomorrow at 1 p.m. on the WCC network. Thank you to the production crew upstairs. I'm Brian Slyke. Thank you for tuning in for today's broadcast. We will see you tomorrow afternoon.